Hi, hello, and welcome to today's Assemble This video. I'm so glad that you're here. I am all about mixing two Unity Stamp Company background stamps and tearing them apart. Join me as I assemble this card full of simple techniques to elevate your background stamps. I'm starting out by stamping both backgrounds on some Neenah Solar White cardstock. This is the Pussy Willow background and the Wood Pile background from Unity Stamp Co. I stamped those with some Gina K amalgam ink because I know it'll work well with ink blending and Copic coloring for both of these backgrounds. I started out by ink blending some saltwater taffy right in the center of this wood pile background. And then I'm going to come in with some pumice stone. I like the gray tone and the pink tone together. And I'm just going to ink blend around the edge and then put a little bit in the center as well, kind of fill in those wood slats that are in the center of the image. And then because the pumice stone covered up some of my pink, I'm just going to add some more back in, kind of spread it out a little bit, just until I'm happy. I like the combo of the two kind of warm gray and pink. Next up, let's color the Pussy Willow background. Never heard of Pussy Willow. We don't have this really in Arizona where I'm from, so that was really fun to learn. I've never seen these before. And they're more of a brown tone, but I really like the idea of them being pink. So this is my crafty world, and I'm going to turn them pink. I'm using R20 for the base and then adding a little bit of R22 to the just the end of the blossom to really create some depth in the I don't know, bloom. I don't even know what they are. But those two colors for the blooms, I guess. And then I came around with W4 and just created a shadow around all the blooms and the branches just to create dimension around them. And then I'm filling in all the white area with W1. I pulled out a W3 and I lost it somewhere. So I think I would have done a W4 and then a little bit of W3 and then come in with W1. And then at the end, I did go over everything a couple times with that W1 to really get a nice blend between the two colors. Last, I'm going to add just a hint of green with G21. That's optional. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to add in another color there. Now comes the fun part. We're going to tear everything up. I'm just going to I trimmed down my background and I'm just going to start ripping layers. I need 4 strips. Well, I don't really need 4 strips. I need 2 strips for this card, but since I had a whole background, I ended up tearing off 4. And then I need a big panel for the center, and I'm going to tear that from the Pussy Willow. I'm tearing towards me so I get a nice white edge of tearing. If you tear away from you, you don't see the white core of the paper. So I have enough strips for 2 cards. I'm going to set one to the side, and I'll create a card off camera, and I'll share that on the blog. But I had extras, so I figured I'll set them aside and figure out what I want to do with them with my leftovers. I have a torn piece of vellum, and I just cut that in half. So now I have all my layers set, and I set those aside. I pulled out the You Are in My Thoughts Girl sentiment kit. It's a front and center kit. I stamped the sentiment that says, wishing you everything wonderful and lovely. And then I'm using the Scallops and Sentiments nesting dies. I'm just seeing which one kind of fits the size of the sentiment. There's two sizes to each. There's a scallop and then there's a straight edge. They can layer, or you can use one or the other to fit your sentiment. So it's kind of fun and versatile. So I just die cut that out. Next, I grabbed an embossing folder that I have in my stash. This one happens to be discontinued, but I'm sure you could find something similar. Just going to add a little bit of texture to my background. Next up, we're just going to layer up all of our strips. I put down the biggest strip right in the center where I know it's going to be. And then I'm just going to glue down all of my layers. I'm going to make sure that I cover up my pencil lines so that my layers go low enough that they'll be hidden behind my flower panel. Next, I'm just going to glue the vellum right on top of that. The glue is going to be hidden behind the panel, so I'm not so worried about which glue I'm using. It's just kind of fun, the different torn layers. They all have a different look, and it's just really rustic and organic how that turns out. My panel was just a little bit too big on the right side, so I'm just going to tear that towards me. What's kind of fun is the Copic markers soak through the paper, so you can kind of see a shadow of the color from the torn core of the paper. I just thought that was a really neat effect that was a surprise. Next, I'm just going to wrap some twine around the panel here and then tie it in a knot. This is going to hold our sentiment. So I'm just going to do a basic knot and get it into the place that I'd like it. As I was doing that, I noticed the tails on my card and it was driving me nuts, so I had to trim those off just so they matched the edge of the card. Much better. Just going to toss those away, and then I just really love the texture and the layers that we have going on. All right, back to that sentiment. I'm just going to grab a hole punch and punch a small hole right in the top. We're going to turn this sentiment banner into a tag. And then we're going to push the string through that hole, and then we'll just tie it in a bow. What's nice is the bow's going to hold the tag in place. You could tack it down, but I like the way that it's kind of free-flowing. So I'm just going to tie the bow, fiddle with that a little bit so I get the length and the size that I like. Trim off those tails, and then we'll call that done with our sentiment treatment. And there it goes. I like the way that it kind of moves on its own. Next, let's just add some foam adhesive to the back and pop that up. It's just going to create some dimension between the previous layers and this top layer. It's a simple way to add a bit of interest and to really elevate the layers of your cards. And we're just going to put that right in the center, wherever it makes me happy. Perfect. And then make sure you move your string and your tag away so you don't cut that off. Done that before. And here is the finished card. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to catch all my video tutorials. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye.